Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Apex Point Racing League feature race. I'm your host with the most, Snoopy, and joining me in the comms box, as always, is Anthony, or Diabolus to those that know him. How are you, Anthony?
Great to be back. Thanks for having me back again, Snoopy, as always, mate.
No worries. I'll dock $5 off your commentary pay for not having your phone on silent as we go to
I'm,
air and keep a very
I've been trying to
professional.
put on silent for the last minute, and I've turned it all the way down, but it only turns down one setting. But it's all sorted now. All good.
Still taking the $5. Anyways, welcome everyone. We are coming to you live from the streets of Tokyo. Everyone's looking ahead at next weekend at Suzuka. Max Verstappen coming back after another disqualification after a very strong season, but true racing fans know where it's at, and it's this weekend at Tokyo Expressway. But who are we kidding ourselves? We know that this race has been run, and we had originally scheduled this for the week prior, but due to some conflicting engagements from an admin perspective, we weren't able to bring that to you. So thank you for making the time tonight to come on by and join us as we tune into our development series for the first time this season, specifically the AM division drivers here at Tokyo Expressway South counterclockwise. A very fast circuit, a very technical circuit as well, with a few little quirks in terms of the circuit itself. It's not everyone's favorite. I'm kind of impartial towards it. I like I like how the different layouts and also the reverse and the normal orientations sort of interact with each other to basically create a new circuit every single time rather than just a carbon copy of the forward track in reverse. So it always makes for some interesting racing for Group 3 or GT3 cars in particular because there's very little wiggle room. There's no runoffs or anything like that, and yeah, it's flat out for most of the time with such long straights along the highway section of this track, so it should be a good one. Anthony, is this a track that you've found yourself particularly strong at? I think I may recall some Sprint Series victories here for you, and potentially Civics
Yeah.
or Mazdas, or was that?
Civics and the RX-7, yeah, I did very well with
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
RX-7 was a difficult one. That was the race where everyone had to work out the sneaky gear shifting.
Yes, it was like
So,
Tokyo Drift kind of round one, and we ran I'm pretty sure we ran this circuit or the other
yes.
orientation, and that's where we saw
Yep. Uh-huh.
Achilles in particular. Um,
Just
he
pull
he
away.
he found the magic juice in the rotary powered REME RX7, and yeah, but good racing
Yes.
that one, long time ago though.
Yeah, during the qualifying, it was like, what's going on here?
Mm.
And then in the interim, we worked it out, and then in the race,
Yes, because
made it happen.
exactly, because the straights are so long, and particularly with the
Yeah.
RX-7, the road car, if you get around that hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, which we'll touch on that in particular a little bit later before we kick this race off, but just because how long the straights are, you can really gain a lot of momentum and time here, and I'm sure the development series drivers did notice that as well, along with the slipstream and things like that, and yeah, round eight of the series. We've had some new drivers join the development series in particular. As many of you would know, traditionally we've had the AM division and the clubman division in terms of hierarchy for the development series. The AM division has kind of been our staple since the beginning of Apex Point Racing League. I kind of treat it as potentially sort of the original development series because when we were running just one lobby of 16, we didn't have such high demand. But now not only do we have the AM division and the clubman division with both different levels of competition and growth levels and things like that. But this season in particular, we introduced the Foundation Cup because the demand was just so high, and it's been good to see all the drivers getting a run. Good to see all the different legacy drivers mixing it up with the new drivers as well. And you'll see some of this tonight as we quickly jump into what we look like to see for tonight's race. So, as mentioned, we have got round eight at Tokyo Expressway South counterclockwise. We're expecting the drivers to do 25 laps tonight, so around a 46 to 48-minute race. It's an afternoon race with a 4 times time rate, so expect the conditions to go from sort of uh, afternoon sun to dusk to night in this race in particular, but there will be clear skies the whole way around. The tyre and the fuel rate is set at 2 times, so nice and simple. And the refuel rate is set at 9 litres per second. But interestingly, for this race in particular, each drivers have to have a mandatory 70 litres of fuel in their car at the start of the race versus the 100 litres that they would normally get if they were able to fill up entirely. So that should play into some interesting components of strategy with such low tyre wear. It's more about managing your fuel, I would say, but also tyres are going to be important in this one as well because the mandatory tyre for the development drivers is the racing soft tyre. And we have the weak wall collision penalties, so really trying to emphasize that component of clean racing, not bumping off any walls, grinding any walls or things like that, and getting away with almost no damage. So there will be some weak penalties as a result here. Um, so yeah, the development series in particular has been an interesting battle this season. We've had some new drivers jump in as well as some existing drivers, and in particular, we have had a good mix of battles between some drivers at the top of the league who are consistently pulling ahead and delivering strong results, but also other drivers throwing into the mix as well. Just goes to show that the variety of strategy across the different races really plays into people's strengths differently as well. Anthony, what do you think is going to be important in this race in particular? Do you feel like it's going to be about the pit stop? Do you feel like it's going to be about choosing when to make your move? Because it's such a fast, high intensity circuit. There's only really those heavy braking zones and those hairpins to really consider an attacking overtake. What do you think?
Yeah, I think being patient is going to be a key factor and utilizing your pit stop and getting that right and your strategy and just racing your own race here and just staying off the walls. If you can manage to stay off the walls and avoid the penalties that come along with, grinding along the walls, it's going to pay you dividends. What I was going to say about this track when you asked me earlier about if I like this track, I like this track after practicing it a long time, and then you get the rhythm because it is a track with rhythm. You need to have the rhythm. For me, if I was in this race and let's say I didn't qualify too well, my idea would be to pick a driver who I think is, doing better than
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
and try and get them to tow me along as long as I can, saving my tyres, especially using the soft tyres as a mandatory tyre, to maximise the life of those tyres and also the fuel,
Mm.
and let them break the air for me. And every little mistake I make, I get it back on the straight because there are a few here that you can just pull that back in. Don't attack that driver and just give them the confidence that I'm not just going to put my nose in any here and there until it's the time's right, which is
Yep.
after the pit stops are all said and done, and then fight that person because you really want to get the gap between branch off from the group essentially, and then have a safe race where you can battle at the end with no other people getting involved. That would be my plan for it.
Yeah.
But plans don't always go, as you know.
Yeah, exactly right, especially with such small wiggle room in terms of like the walls around you and things like that. And interesting that you mentioned the pits as well, because there's actually quite an intricate feature of this circuit. So the pit itself is actually not adjacent to the start-finish line. It's kind of about 3/4 through the circuit, just before the final sector starts. So with this in
Yeah.
particular, because there's the possibility of drivers not completing a full lap on the mandatory compound, we've instated a rule that the pit is actually closed for tyre changes on the first and the last lap of the race,
That's
just
what caught
because of
me
that
out
junior.
last time we
Yes.
raced here in the Group 3s.
Yeah, because it's got a unique layout. I mean, you can still go in there to refuel and you can still go in there to repair damage. Not that that really matters really for the development series category, but yeah, a little bit of an intricacy on this track in particular. But it should make for some exciting racing for sure. Before we jump in, thank you for everyone that's joined. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure to share it if anyone that you know who might be interested in watching new sim racing if you're hitting the track tonight. We look forward to bringing that to you very, very soon. But before we do, just want to drop a little bit of a nugget of information for those loyal viewers of ours that have decided to join us nice and early. So thank you all again for coming in. All of us know that the season has wrapped up. Season 9 is done. Season 10 is just around the corner. I feel really crazy saying that. But with that main season of Season 9 being completed, the action doesn't just stop. So we've got tonight our feature race. actually next weekend as well. If you want to schedule your calendars for Sunday, we will have another season highlights reel courtesy of Red Bears. He's been working hard to capture all the different races from our Group 3 series tonight, on Tuesdays in Gran Turismo, our sprint series on Wednesdays, and even our ACC races on Thursdays. So, especially for those that haven't maybe dabbled in or seen what ACC racing is like, please join that premiere of our highlights reel next Sunday. So you can mark that in your calendar. But everyone's been talking about the off-season schedule, and we've got some information to share with you all that have joined tonight. So it's packed with action. So most of you know we have the first round of our Endurance League starting this Friday night. It's kind of like a Super GT 90s, early 2000s era at Suzuka Circuit. 2 hours, random weather, full damage. So development series drivers, get your practice in and make sure you're racing clean, because that one's going to be a test of endurance, not of pace. Then we've got so many other events coming your way, which the details will be dropping tomorrow. For example, karting, go-karts. Everyone loves that in Gran Turismo. Always a really good time. We're going to have some Mazda Roadster racing, and we're also going to have some rally events set up as well, all in Gran Turismo across the board. So keep an eye out for those details for the nights that they will drop. We'll use the majority of this coming week just for everyone to switch off and relax a little bit before the endurance race on Friday. But speaking of endurances, we've actually got a special additional endurance race coming the community's way, specifically for Assetto Corsa Competizione. So it's another 2-hour enduro, but it's more of uh, almost like a bridging gap between ACC and Gran Turismo 7. We've established it in a way where it's at a track where people are quite comfortable, so it will be at Barcelona, and it's designed to be a friendly kind of social mixer to help any GT7 drivers that are interested in trying out a new game and wanting to get comfortable in ACC. This will be the perfect opportunity for you guys to have a go and jump into a race. Yes, it is an endurance race, but again, just treat it like an extended time trial just to learn the ropes and things like that. But we're planning to have some training sessions set up. Isn't that right, Anthony? Just from the little
Yes.
details like, you know, getting into the game, getting all your setups right, not just from a car perspective, but also your in-game settings and things like that. And that's all going to be done by our community members, with Anthony in particular here to help anyone who's, I guess, green or new to the game to get comfortable, get up to speed, and get help for their first race, because it can be pretty daunting the first time you jump in, isn't it?
Well, that's right. It is a steep, uh, I guess, barrier or difference in game from GT7.
Mm,
I like to call it a bit of GT7 is racing without consequence. ACC is not that. You
mm,
race in ACC, slight contact can affect your car because GT3 cars are typically very delicate cars in real life. Any little touch can cause, aero to be
mm,
affected, all sorts of different things. And then in the past, not so much now, in the past it used to be referred to as the tyre simulator, because if you didn't have your tyres set up correctly for the race, you weren't going to perform the tyres. You just be like it'd be like you're on ice.
mm.
But it's a bit better these days with the latest updates. You have a bit more of a buffer zone to have your tyre pressures in, which allows you to, race a bit more consistently.
Yeah,
So the idea of the training sessions, we'll do them on Monday nights, where you guys would usually do your GT7
practice
academy,
academy. Yep.
and we'll just do some ACC. The first session, I just really foresee it just me spending some time with each of you guys in time blocks of just getting uh, a car
Mm,
set up, because every different car, because when you drive ACC, you drive in the car typically. That's where you want your camera to be.
mm.
So adjusting your camera inside your car so you got a good view. No one who races ACC sits on the bonnet. It's not how they do it.
Mm,
It's not faster to be on the bonnet like it is in GT7.
mm.
So
Yeah.
we'll go through that setup. We'll go through, setting your force feedback and your bindings, what you will need. We're going to make it very simple, so you're not going to have to bind so many things. pit stops, how they work, and how how it can be easy to set your tire pressures up, and then your pit strategies, because you do need to set up pit strategies, especially in a long 2 hour race. The idea is that the temperature is not going to change too much. So I've got the weather set so that it only will adjust due to the time of day. So the idea of the race will be, it'll start in the afternoon and then transition to night. So the temperature naturally will drop, which means the track temperature will drop and your tire pressures will in turn drop. So explaining how, like, when you change your tires in your pit stop, you might want to have just a few extra psi in there to account for the weather drop. It all sounds daunting, but believe me, once you get in there and just do some laps and start slowly, it'll all come to you. And don't feel bad if you're making mistakes, because the guys that race this every week, like myself, last week, I was in the lead of the race, coming into the pit stop, too much speed, bumped the wall on the entry, ended up speeding across the pit line, and got a drive through. Just, it happens to everyone, but you just get back out, keep going, you know. So
Yeah, there's a couple of basics in the game that sound daunting at first, like you're saying, but once you get used to them and familiar, just like any video game or any simulator, um, you get over that bridge, it becomes muscle memory, and particular ACC just becomes really rewarding when you put in the effort, put in the training, and just that feeling of feeling more connected to the car. I feel in particular in ACC compared to Gran Turismo. So, guys, in
yeah,
particular, for those in GT7 that haven't given it a go, please consider it. Even if you don't want to go all the way into the race, we'd love to have you into the race. We've got different divisions in there as well, development and pro,
yes.
so you're not going to be a fish out of
And
water.
GT7 drivers. So
Yeah,
there'll be a
exactly.
division specifically for GT7
Oh,
drivers,
nice one. Yeah.
so that and you'll be able to identify each other with the relative. Like, so just like in GT7, you'll have like a relative on the side where what position you're in. ACC, you get a bit more information. You can see your relative location in the race. So if you're getting lapped, it'll show you the car behind you is on a lead lap and that you're being blue flagged. Things like that is all in your head-up display that will on the side of the screen. And then GT7 drivers will be identified as like a red square. So it will show your race number and it'll have a red square. The ACC development drivers will be grey, and the pro drivers will be a white square. So everyone on track will be easily identifiable. And when I set that as well, when you're following a car and if you're not looking at your relative, there'll be on the bumper of each car, it will have their number as well, and it will say what they've been classified as. So, you know, AM driver, pro AM, and pro.
Adequate information for everyone, and again, with the idea of helping everyone to give it a go, specifically, people in our development series categories, even our pro series drivers as well. But speaking of development series categories, I think I've just heard from the pit marshals down below the expressway here that the drivers are shaping up and getting ready to go. So we might do something a little bit differently here. We may just quickly jump into the start of the race, and I'll quickly set up my details here so that I can show everyone. We figured it might be a good idea to give everyone a bit of a run through of the drivers tonight and actually see their cars as we go through the grid before we jump into the race here. So for round 8 here at Tokyo Expressway, the Development Series AM division, starting in P1, we have Mighty Bob, who's a new driver to Apex Point Racing League. He's entering this round with a really strong recent upward trend in the AM division. He may not have had the highest elo gains on the grid, but he consistently maintains clean laps. In second place, we have Asand Mate of Breakthrough Racing. Again, another very competitive driver, very high risk, high reward driver. So we expect to see some moves from him in the Ferrari tonight for sure. In P3, we have Full Grumpy of Black Sheep Racing. He has a lot of experience in Gran Turismo and in Apex Point Racing League as a whole, so expect to see him to put in some nice consistent lap times tonight if all goes his way. Again, this is a very tricky circuit. In P4, we have Mech Pain. Again, another new driver to Apex Point Racing League, represented by FYRC Racing. And speaking of FYRC Racing, he's actually got his teammate next to him on the grid starting P5, Bardo. So two drivers starting side by side on the grid, 4th and 5th position respectively. Hopefully they don't do a McLaren and have different mechanical or electrical issues before the race starts and they can get to the end here. Starting in P6 is Ting, or P944S2. Of course, in the Porsche 911. Really clean driver in the AM division, has been around for so many seasons here at Apex Point Racing League, so we're very happy to have him with us again starting in P6 tonight. In P7, we have DJ2 Sus, who's a very strong competitive driver, previously Pro-Am, I believe, from memory, also known as Low Life Motorsports, but so expect to see some good pace from him as well. He's driving for 2 Sus NRG, and alongside him is actually Will Burr, who is also driving for 2 Sus NRG, and he's also one to watch out for tonight, has been showing strong results throughout the course of the AM division, probably starting a little bit out of his depths there in P8, but we expect to see him making some moves. In P9 on fire AMG is the NRG Spark driver Daywalker. Again, another consistent driver who's been around for a long time and just gradually made those improvements over the course of his time here. So thanks Daywalker for sticking with APRL. In P10 we have Loco RX2 of Loco Motorsport. He's really a track dependent driver. This type of track in particular would suit the RX Vision, but you just need to be a little bit more careful about those walls being a lot more closer proximity considering how wide the car is. Starting in P11 is our Clubman Division winner from last season, Tank Neo. So he's driving for Breakthrough T1D Racing. He's one of the highest elo drivers in the AM division, but he's starting really deep in the field, so expect to see some moves from him throughout the course of the night. In P12, we have Morgs for Black Sheep Racing. Again, with Full Grumpy towards the front and Morgs more towards the back. They kind of have a bit of a sandwich on the field, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. In P13, we have, I believe it's Grim. So Grim of Breakthrough T1D Racing, I believe that is. Yes, that is correct. Again, another strong team driver helping out the rest of the team there. In P14, we have Marjon, so another FYRC racing driver. So all three FYRC racing drivers are on the grid tonight, so expect a good haul of points irrespective of where they finish. And rounding out the back of the field is Simmit80 of PSU Legacy. Very methodical driver, very strong driver in the club and division earlier on. And we expect to see some good action from him tonight. So that's your field. I've just quickly jumped out of the replay so that we can get into the race. The drivers are ready to go. I'll get my thing ready to roll. Ready when you are, Anthony.
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, let's get this out of the way. We'll jump on the front here with the mighty Bob, or we'll call him Bob to refer to him to make it nice and easy for us tonight as he starts the rolling start here at Tokyo Expressway. They're off and underway. The AMG leading the field here for the Development Series AM division. The AMG GT3 in particular doesn't have a great amount of top speed, but is really good in the corners, so it's going to be the Mighty Bob's best interest to try and get away here as much as possible and build a bit of a gap between himself and Asan Maiden. I think Asan just slightly grazed the wall. Yeah, so that's going to help him out here. As you can see, a nice gap building there for the Mighty Bob. Sandmate is in second. Full Grumpy's right on his tail here in P3, but knowing Full Grumpy, he will make his intentions very clear well before the turn. Slips out just to the outside, but doesn't brake late or dive bomb in there. We've actually got a driver that's gone wide a bit. I think it was Tingy that may have run a little bit too deep there, or another brightly coloured Porsche 911 as they all scramble through here, and they go a bit side by side here with Wilbur and DJ2 side by side here heading into the right-hander. Wilbur should have the racing line here, but Low Life actually breaks a bit later, gets the move done and pulls ahead here. And they are heading down the very, very long back straight into the tunnel here. All the teams relatively close together. Wilbur looking to fashion up another move again on DJ2 Sus as he goes around the outside, but what becomes the outside then becomes the inside, and then what becomes the inside then becomes the outside. Slots in behind there, getting another slipstream right on his bumper there. Looks like there's a few of them heading into this hairpin turn. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? 2 by 2 they go into the hairpin. Wilbur gets the move done. Loco's looking to shape up a move as well, but I reckon that Porsche 911 has enough legs to get ahead there. So that was the pits that they just passed, so no drivers have gone in as per the driver briefing. We jump back onto the front here to check on Bob, and he has steamed away.
Yeah, Bob is making really good ground here, so I think he's playing his cards well here. Just going through the drivers through the start of the race here, and everyone seems to be running into soft tyre at the start, apart from Sim at 80, which would be a strategy if I was starting even mid-pack to utilise the medium tyres and potentially get dragged along while on those tyres. But as we said, it is mandatory soft tyres, so maybe the strategies are all just softs all the way. So it'll be interesting to see what the drivers do in that regard.
Oh, it's getting very, very compact here as they head into the first hairpin of the lap. Loco RX2 actually has a 1.5 second penalty here. It looks like he's trying to make that wide RX7 as wide as possible to stop anyone getting around him, as he will be serving this penalty not down this next back straight, but as they turn into the hairpin just near the pits, as Tank Neo grazes the wall there, Daywalker's going to look to get past him here as a result there. But yeah, the penalty zone is actually served just after the pit exit in particular, so Loco will be trying to steam away here to build himself a little bit of a gap. But everyone seems to be carrying on pretty clean. Looks like they're forming battle packs. So just a quick recap. Mighty Bob steaming away here in P1. Sandmate's not too far away. Looks like Barter's got the jump on Grumpy here, but Grumpy has maybe some other words to say about this. So they get into probably 250, 260 kilometers per hour and head into a very, very heavy braking zone here. Everyone seems to keep themselves together here. Tingy's just in front of DJ2. Sus Loco still has that space between himself and the cars behind him, but I will believe he will be serving the penalty on the main straight, so he will be dropping back a fair bit. Daywalker in P10, Take Neo 11th, Grim P12. Morgs has actually got a 1.5 second penalty as well, so a few of them are grazing the wall and getting some impact here. So Sim Mid 80 has also got a half second penalty, and Sniper or Marjon has gone a little bit back here, but I reckon with these penalties, in particular with Loco, as we see him slowing down here on the main straight, Daywalker goes past, Tank Neo goes past, Grim might be going past as well, so 3 positions gone there for Loco, and Marjon or Sniper 99 has gained 2 positions as well just from not having a penalty here, so starting to split out the field a little bit. Mighty Bob has no concerns about what's behind him, only what's ahead of him, but a Sandmaid looks like he's catching up a fair bit, or Bob goes really deep there, or a Sandmaid's up the inside and capitalises on that move there. Wonder what happened with Mighty Bob, maybe he just missed his braking marker there, but a Sandmaid has taken the lead.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the group start spreading out due to penalties, to be honest. Just with the touching of the walls, everybody's really quite eager at the moment. As you can see, they're racing hard. Probably more fighting than I would expect to see. Probably more fighting than you see in the pros. These guys are really trying to jump positions. Maybe they're qualified in positions that they're not typically in, and they're trying to get up to their, I guess, rival in the leaderboard to make sure they don't lose track of that particular driver.
Look how close they are here. Sorry to cut you off there, Anthony. It's just to see Bob swerving behind a Sandmate, just to let him know of his intentions that are there, and they're guessing the soundscape of the Tokyo city with all the tunnels and the walls has interfered with a bit of our microphones here at the moment, Anthony, so we may get you to turn yours up just a little bit, because I potentially have my mix a little bit inaccurate there. Thanks.
No.
Thanks. Again, I believe the Ferrari has better straight line pace than the AMG here, so slipstream shouldn't be too much of a problem here for a Sandmate, but Bob is a fast racer. We'll check in with them later. Full Grumpy sets the fastest lap of the race as we switch to him of 57.589 in the Jaguar Shaguar, as 2 cars behind him goes side by side. Wilbur's doing a good job. There's one of the drivers we told the community to keep an eye on. Started well deep within the field and is already P4, so doing a great job. Mech Payne is making him work for it in the Ford GT. Very rare to see that car around, but I'm sure as it gets darker in this race. We'll see it light up quite nicely as they go door banging, but very respectfully hold each other's lines here. McPain goes a little bit deep. Tingy thinks about it. DJ2 Sus is running their own race as well. Daywalker's gained a couple of positions, so is Tank Neo. Grim. Loco's still trying to make up for the penalty that he had earlier. Bardo looks like he's gone a little bit back here since the start of the race, but long race to go. We'll see how that fares. And Marjon is in P13.
Yeah, so just on like Mighty Bob making those moves and putting his nose out there, that is a good strategy that drivers like to employ. Maybe he had no intention of passing, but letting him know he's there, making him think about him, all in the revision mirror, can force an error. So it might be some smart driving there by Mighty Bob just to get Aston made off on guard and a bit more defensive driving.
Might right on board here with Bob just to see how fast and flowing this final section of Tokyo Expressway here. Fast right-hander here, you can hear the tyres complaining. Another fast left-hander followed, but immediately by another fast right-hander, then a moderate braking zone into a mid to low speed left-hander down the main straight. Just hearing those tyres really complaining and actually seeing a Sandmate pull away a little bit here. So I might get a tyre check in with you, Anthony, between the Sandmate and the Mighty Bob.
We've got McPain. He is sideways.
McPain.
He's sideways on exits.
Oh no! Oh, the drivers go around him. Oh, McPain did the right thing there. Stayed very calm.
Perfect.
Held onto the brakes there. Knew the cars were coming. He was in a very dangerous position. He may have been ghosted, but it didn't look like he was. That could have been a huge accident. But courtesy to McPain
for the right thing.
Correct. Yep.
So for everyone watching, the development drivers out there, exactly what you should be doing: sitting on your brakes, waiting for the cars to get by, and then correcting yourself. Very respectful driver in that regard there.
Great job.
Patient. Great job.
Great job, McPain. New driver to Apex Point Racing League and exactly the type of driver we like to have with us. So thank you again for your patronage this season and also keeping it nice and calm in that situation there. We'll get that tyre check in, but as well, I'm interested to see how Grumpy's going in comparison to Bob as well, because Grumpy seems to be pulling Bob in.
Grumpy is, I was going to say, like, there's really not much to say about the tyre front at the moment, due to all the cars being very similar. As you said, you wanted to hear about Morgs. I just got onto Morgs, and his tyres are far worse than any other driver on the track. I know that's a GDR issue, or Morgs just really overdriving it, because as you said, he is gaining, so he is pushing.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to be bothering him, the tyres, especially on the back straight where you don't need to worry about your tyres that much. But Simo goes in deep, holds the inside line there, maybe just with that grip is able to defend the position there.
Simo's grip, mate, it's slightly worn in comparison to, you could say Morgs has already done a quarter on tyre wear.
Yeah, right, okay, well, right on board here with Morgs to the fast-flowing final sector. See if Simo's able to pull away. Oh, Morgs is still keeping him honest, to be honest with you. Maybe it's just the difference in speed and experience here. So even with a bit of extra tyre deg from Morgs, he's able to get a bit of a run on Simo. Maybe he ducks in behind the slipstream here as we ride on board. He shows his nose up the inside, but as soon as he dips out of the slipstream, GTR just loses a bit of that steam. He's got a bit of overlap, but he thinks better of it. And that actually pushes, not literally, but Simo goes a little bit wide. Again, just tucking right in. That V Advantage has actually got a decent amount of straight line speed. Funnily enough, it used to really struggle. He goes very defensive here, Simo. So head into the hairpin at the end of the first sector here. Let's see who comes out on top. Simo's got the inside line. Maybe Morgs can fashion a cutback. They both go deep. Morgs is going around the outside, side by side with Simo here. Exceptional racing between the two of them. Simo ducks ahead and Morgs ducks behind. Time to fight for another day.
Beautiful driving there from these two drivers. Simo did just take the wall on the exit there, but it doesn't seem to impact his speed. So lucky got a penalty out of that battle, but really great driving. So the tyre wear at the front of the pack is actually starting to now run down very rapidly. So it seems like everybody's starting to push. The tyres are getting a bit of punishment here at the front. No difference between SM Mate and Mighty Bob at this stage. SM Mate's carrying just slightly bit more fuel, so his car's better on fuel.
Better on fuel, yeah.
But Mighty Bob seems like he's struggling to hold pace. I don't know if he's just overdriving the car at this point, but he's starting to get Grumpy, allowing Grumpy to have a bit of a sniff here. So if Grumpy gets him that 1 second, he will probably start getting the slipstream and close that gap even further.
Interestingly enough, so we've got a bit of a space between P3 and P4, but then P5 with Daywalker has made some great progress since the start of this race. There is one hell of a conga line behind him as we jump on board. He tries to duck out of the slipstream here. Look how fast that Porsche 911 GT3R is, the new Porsche 911 GT3 that has dropped into the game. Tingy just got, it's a car thing, or they just had a better run out of the corner there. He goes up the inside here. They break side by side. Tingy does a great job of holding onto the apex. But you've got to also watch about the cars behind you because they're just so close together. So Daywalker actually loses 2 positions in one go there. Must be really struggling with a bit of tyre wear. So Tingy in P5, DJ Tusas in P6, and Loco, who's actually pulled a few positions back from his penalty a couple of laps ago at the start of this race. But not too far behind him is Tank Neo, who just tags the wall. Grim, Bardo, Sniper, they're all catching up quite nicely here. We're right back on board with Daywalker here just to see how they all fare, because I imagine DJ Tusas is just a little bit out of that slipstream of Tingy's 911 here, but Daywalker's got a good run. He's right on the bumper there of DJ Tusas, run out of room actually, which actually brings Loco into the mix here. They're all into the slipstream. There's 2 of them going wide, 3 going wide. Bit of door banging, deep braking deep from Loco RX2. Does he make contact? A little bit of a spin, a little bit of contact on the way out. Oh no! Who's in the wall there?
That's
DJ Tusas, sorry.
It looked like Loco had the car pulled up there, but on the exit just gave it a bit too much throttle and put it a bit out of control and tagged Lily Sport. That's from the angle I saw it at.
Yeah.
So not intentional by the looks of it, but nonetheless has impacted Lily Sport's race here. So
quite significantly as well.
He's got some work to do, and he also got a penalty, which is just so unfortunate.
Penalty damage, facing the wrong way, dropped down from what was effectively about P5, P6 to now P13, and to be P14 very shortly. So yeah, that's really unfortunate for DJ Tusas, but anything can happen with this race. We'll just check it with them later. Looks like the top 3 have actually pulled themselves a little bit closer together here. They're probably within 1.5 seconds of each other, 2 seconds tops. Grumpy's doing a top job here to hold on to these very, very rapid drivers. So doing an exceptional job, just making Tokyo his second home, it seems like. So, but look who's lurking. Who's lurking in the background.
Yeah, these cars are really managing their tyres and their fuel. They're all pretty much on par.
Yep.
So they're all in the same boat by the sounds of it. Obviously, the different cars will have different pros and cons.
Bob goes wide and tags the wall under the expressway, loses a heap of momentum, and Full Grumpy gets the job done. Mighty Bob's tyres must be really struggling at the moment. Just for a full throttle, just simple sweeping turn, he just lost that grip and tagged the wall. Thankfully, no damage or no penalty, but now Grumpy's into P2 and after Sandmate.
He's lucky he didn't grab a penalty there. So good to see that he's still in the fight here. So if I was in his situation here, I'd be just trying to follow Grumpy along. Grumpy obviously had more pace leading up to this part of the race, so getting behind him, maybe Grumpy can pull the gap into Asa, as he just said in the chat. They like how you pronounce his nickname there, Asa, like the computer.
Asa, very good.
So yeah, if I was my Bob, stick with Grumpy, but also looks like Grumpy's slightly starting to gap a bit there, and my Bob has pulled a 1.5 penalty.
Touch the wall there. That's going to be music or sight for sore eyes for Wilbur, who should be able to close that gap quite significantly, so making some good progress. While you're talking about that, I was just jumping back into Loco, who feels a little bit rattled after that potential incident that he was involved in, because he was P5 going on P6, but now he's P7, and that group is really really bunched together. It's a sea of 911 GT3s and Ferrari 296s with the odd Mazda and AMG in the mix here. Loco goes defensive, holding that inside line there. Dave Walker, who's lost a couple positions in that turn a few laps ago, has now trying to pull away here. But I just don't feel like the AMG is going to have the legs here to get away from the likes of the RX Vision here. Right over the shoulder of here. Oh, Tank Neo!
Oh,
Tank Neo in the background. Oh, hit the wall twice. Not another time, no.
No,
this is going to be Austin Powers moment. Oh, and the car's coming through more. Does it? Oh, no. Oh, the panic. Oh, well, we saw an example of how to control yourself when you're facing the wrong way in the wall. Wait for the traffic to go by, and then we've just seen maybe what not to do. But hey, no drivers were harmed in the making of this film.
The only really person who didn't benefit out of this was Tank Neo. He had a crash, which is why we put the penalties on weak, and because of the 50-point turn there and bumping multiple times, he's ended up with a 6-second penalty. He's not going to be happy.
Oh, and he's just head straight into the wall. What happened to his brakes? He just went straight into the wall. That would be a race-ending incident for sure. Maybe. Oh, he was trying to go into the pits and just maybe. Yeah.
On the dirty line.
Oh yeah. No, that's taking him well out of contention as he goes in to change his tyres, get some fuel, recollect his thoughts. But it looks like what that means for drivers such as, Mech Payne, who was facing the wrong way, has actually gained a position as a result of that. DJ Tusas as well has gained a position there. Simo's doing nicely. Morgs is chipping away nicely as we check back in with this racing group. But we may just jump to the front of the grid to see how things are going up there. So while that was happening, Sam Asa, as we've recently learned, still holds on to P1. Grumpy's doing one hell of a job catching up to him here. Very well done. Wilbur looks like he's gotten the jump on Mighty Bob due to that 1.5 second penalty and overall pace. So he's making some moves here as well. Expect to see some drivers in the pits very shortly. Tingy doing a great job holding on to P5. Dave Walker managed to fend off. This is where we actually left him. We were meant to hold on to him here. Coming down the main straight, managed to fend off the RX Vision of Loco RX2 as a half-second penalty. So imagine just tag the wall ever so slightly there and gain himself a penalty. Grim's done a good job from, I think it was P12 he started in to make his way up to P8. So doing a great job for Breakthrough T1D Racing and maybe looking at getting some more points here on Loco. Just trying to take advantage of him being rattled. Goes to the outside here, hoping Loco breaks deep. Goes for the undercut. Let's see if he's able to get it done. The tyres are really struggling. Gets a bit of a loss of traction there on the way out, and they resume their course.
Oh, and it just, the gods have spoken. Loco's picked up a penalty. He must have just dropped that wall a bit too hard on the way out there.
Oh, sorry, that was the penalty he had earlier.
Oh, so, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he'll be serving it as he crosses the line here, and that'll give Grim the opportunity to pass by, and maybe Bardo as well, depending on how good the legs are on the Porsche 911 GT3R. So we'll quickly right on board here with Bardo. Loco does the right thing, peels off the racing line. Bardo is gaining, but I don't think he'll be able to gain enough just with that half-second penalty. But we
the AMGs are really punishing the front left tyres. It looks more than any other car on the track. So all the other tyres seem to be okay, just the front left is really suffering.
Yep, being that sort of clockwise style circuit. But Mighty Bob seems to be putting that theory to the test here, as he's actually gained a lot of time back on Wilbur here. So even with that tyre degradation, maybe the front engine layout of the AMG is causing some good karma for the driver here as he carries on. Grumpy not too far off Asa. So we'll just have to wait and see if he's able to shape up and move just a little bit further back. What else have we got going on in the middle of the field here? Tingy's got Daywalker right on him and actually passing him. I imagine maybe Tingy got a bad exit or just slightly grazed the wall there. So he's lost P5 for P6, but it's still early days. Grim's gained a position from that half-second penalty from Loco, but Loco is right on his tail here. That RX-7 is very, very good in terms of top speed. Let's see what they end up doing. Grim goes a little bit defensive. Loco takes the racing line here. They go side by side. Or a little bit of a tap there, maybe. I'm not too sure. Oh, Grim gets a little bit rattled. Not sure what happened there, but so the clean overtake. Our cameras couldn't tell us what happened there, but Loco has regained the position. Bardo looks like he's interested in getting involved in this too. As the sun sets over Tokyo, we're slowly heading into the halfway point of this race, so expect to see some more pit stops soon.
So if these guys running softs, you'd have to imagine that they're going to try and push this out to halfway.
Yep.
I don't know how Morks is going to do that. His GTR is, I thought, going into that hairpin, he was going to duck into the pits. His tyres seem to be really suffering that heavy GTR.
But it's one of those tracks where a lot of it is straight and flat out, so you feel like you don't need as much grip because it's only, maybe a handful of corners, right? But what I found from experience, like when with the pro division drivers did this race, is like, even though there's only 5 or 6 corners, they're so high speed or mid speed at a minimum and demanding on the tyres that you might feel like you're going flat out and turning and the tyres are complaining a bit more, but you're actually washing off a chunk of speed. So it may be in your best interest to pit early. If you've got the softs on now, I'd be thinking about the medium tyres to maybe extend the second stint and do a one-stopper, but time will tell.
Are the mediums that much different? Are the mediums that much different in pace from the softs?
A little bit. You can. It depends on that crossover period. About a second a lap. The majority of this race is a lot of full throttle, flat out racing and things like that. But yeah, it's those hairpins in particular where you can gain those seconds, and especially as we're jumping on board here with Acer, this sweeping final sector is such a punish on your tyres. When you have that grip, it does wonders for you.
Just looking at the pits, it looks like Tank Neo has parked the car.
Yep, that's fair enough.
Unfortunately,
just called it a day there.
Yeah, and you can understand why. Like the amount of damage, every single panel on that car was damaged. We've got Sniper in the pits as well.
Yep, Marjon getting a fresh set of tyres. So the first one to pull the trigger on a complete pit stop. Tank Neo was the first one into the pits, but Marjon is the first one to pull the trigger. So we may just jump back to the front with Acer and Grumpy. Grumpy's doing a great job to keep up pace-wise with Acer. All it takes is a little mistake or a brush of the wall and he can be right into it. So we'll see how they fare as they get closer to the end of the lap. Wilbur seems to have pulled quite a gap on Bob. Daywalker still holding P5 against Tingy. Bardo, Grim are both ahead of Loco, so he may have missed something there with Loco. Maybe just grip or another penalty, you never know, but this is sort of our battle for the mid-pack. And then Morks is doing everything he can to hold on to P10 at the moment. So, yes, I imagine there will be some more pit stops coming our way. So,
this might be the lap that
exactly.
Either decide to go in now and try and push with the extra fuel to the end of the race, or try and survive another extra lap. And do
13 and a half laps is the exact midway point of this race, and the pits are just after that 13 and a half lap point. So I imagine to see Acer in here as well as we see how he positions his car. He's gone very far left, braking quite late. Yep, he's taking the entry road to the pits. Grumpy decides to continue on. Wilbur decides to pit. Mighty Bob decides to pit. Tingy looks like he's gotten the jump there on Daywalker. So he gets a big shunt there from Bardo. So if Tingy was thinking about going into the pits, that's long gone there. But he crossed
opportunity.
Yeah, he crossed the line there, so he's going to have to go out again. But we've got 3 cars in the pits. So Acer has come in, refueling, has changed tyres, comes out on soft tyres again. So does Wilbur. Coming out of the exit, DJ2 Sus just does a great job of avoiding Bob there, but Bob's going to have to really put the hammer down here to keep ahead of McPain and Simo behind them, who are battling their own race there. So we're hopeful for Tingy in particular that it was his intentions to stay out another lap. We'll see how he fares this lap around. But now Grumpy, he's going for the overcut. I'm not sure how this will play out for him because the guys with the fresh tyres and the full fuel will be coming out of the pits hot and heavy, but Grumpy may have the race come towards him on that final lap of the race. So we'll keep an eye out for that as we progress as the sun sets on Tokyo. I'm looking forward to seeing the new cars in particular, like the Ferrari 296 and the Porsche 911 GT3R, and their light up LED panels illuminating the tracks of Tokyo. As the sun continues to drop here, Grumpy carries on.
I think he's done a really great job of managing his tyres, I must say.
Okay, maybe he didn't want to come in.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe he was going to stay out. He's done a great job. His fuel is very low, but he has managed his tyres very well in comparison to the other Porsches.
Might do a quick whip around the grounds here before the sun sets completely and we lose sight of everyone's liveries. But guys, let us know what you think in the comments of who has the best dressed livery tonight. As we quickly flick through just to see if Grumpy goes into the pits. He does go into the pits, so goes a little bit deep, runs over the outside line, but he should be okay. I think we will check in with Asa. So Tingy's coming into the pits, Grim is coming into the pits. Asa is coming down the back straight here. Grumpy had 2 litres of fuel left. He's refueling now as Asa heads into the hairpin here. Grumpy's going to look to get about to the 60% fuel rate. There he goes. And Asa is coming around the corner. Grumpy should be coming out of the pits. Only just gets the move done there. And actually, Grumpy hasn't lost a whole chunk of time from that. So
no, it's actually gained.
Yeah, it's actually advantage Grumpy, I would say there, because he's got a 1+ lap tyre advantage on Asa. So wouldn't be too worried about it. But we'll check in with them towards the end of the race. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But going through the liveries, we have Asa for breakthrough racing. It's always hard to tell whether it's breakthrough or T1D breakthrough. Grumpy with the iconic Jaguar livery there. Wilbur with the NRG2 Sus livery. And we've got Mighty Bob with sort of the Mercedes group team style livery, privateer, so you can run whatever livery that he likes. Who's that? Oh, Asa! He spun!
Oh, Asa.
Oh, no! Wow. He had the race in control. He was leading ahead there. Oh, my goodness. Asa, it looks like he lost control coming out of the first corner. Hit the wall twice for 2 1.5-second penalties to make up the 3-second penalty. He would be spewing.
Damage.
Oh, yeah. Mate.
Front rear damage and front left.
Now, the race is in Grumpy's hands here. He's got the tyre advantage over Wilbur and Bob behind him, so he just needs to keep doing what he did for the first stint and carry on. But we'll go back to the liveries as we're looking. I was wondering why it wasn't loading on my end. It was glitching out a bit, but anyways. NRG Spark, Bardo. Daywalker with kind of the Nicolas Cage sort of Hell Rider AMG on fire livery there. We got Tingy in the 911. And we saw Grim earlier, I believe. No, we saw his teammate, a Sandmate. Loco RX2 in the yellow and black. Mazda RX Vision. Another bright green 911, the old 911 for Marjon. A Sandmate we saw earlier as well. Morgs, who's got his left indicator on, probably by accident, or maybe indicating to DJ's 2 Sus that I'm going to pull over, you can go past me. He's kind of got the black and gold GTR as DJ2 Sus looks to shape up a move. Not quite. He does have the inside line here. Yes, he does. Maybe Morgs was indicating there. So they carry on. Another bright green Ford GT. Simo in the Golf livery, classic Golf livery PSU car. And Tank Neo obviously in the pits there. We have Amy Irving, I believe. Wilbur with the best livery, saying. We'll check in with Wilbur, see what people think of that as it comes up.
It was nice and clean.
Yep.
I have to say I'm a big fan of the Mazda, and I do like that pack racing livery.
What is the pack racing livery? I can't say I've heard of it. It's cool.
Well, it's just pack racing. I don't think they actually have a racing livery. They're just a modifying shop.
Oh, nice one. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Grumpy's. I just think it's like, I think it's just the racing stripes on the bonnet. It's just that clean, classic racing look that you don't see very often anymore.
And
the British racing green. I think it's very tasteful. But guys, let us know in the comments which is your favourite livery before the lights dip out in Tokyo. We might just check in on some of these Porsche drivers to see if their boards light up. So Wilbur doesn't have the light up board, unfortunately, on his 911 GT3R. There we go, lights up for Bardo, beautifully done by Red Bearsy, who spent a whole chunk of time and effort to bring those to life, to make those light up boards shine nice and brightly there. Well done, Red Bearsy. Now we just need to find we've got another one for Tingy as well. And we can see actually the light up board for the Ferraris as well, the 296 GT3. Another one for Acer too. So yeah, they're looking really, really nice. Shame for the drivers that don't have it on, but it is a little bit of a hindrance to have them applied to your car, because yeah, then you just add another. I think there's another LED panel on the Porsche in particular that's meant for the WEC, you know, in the World Endurance Championship, where they have first, second, third, fourth on the side of the cars. It just doesn't light up in the game, unfortunately, which is a shame, but you know, we're grateful to have those cars here in the first place. 8 laps to go.
7 needs to get that together.
Yep, and I think we're getting very close to the point of starting to have conversations about Gran Turismo 8, to be completely honest with you. When did Gran Turismo 7 come out? Was it 2022? It must have been 2022, surely, right? Yeah.
I started sim racing.
Yeah, same here, yeah. I remember when the game came out, I sat down with my partner after she picked me up from the train station one day after watching a couple of Super GT videos on the train ride home, and I'd had an old Logitech Driving Force GT for my PlayStation 3 for Gran Turismo 5, Gran Turismo 6, but I don't think I ever really enjoyed it because I hadn't maximized the usage of it. I had an IKEA desk and a dining room table, and I don't think that really clicked with me. But after Gran Turismo 7 comes out,
to the battle with Grim and Loco here. It's kicking off. There's lots of contact happening.
We can leave my nostalgia for another day. Grim and Loco side by side going into the tunnel here. The boards light up, the lights turn on. I'm interested to see what the onboard is like.
A lot of contact happening.
Oh yeah, you can see it on as we ride on board with Grim. This is a very challenging set of corners to try and fashion a move here. I remember having a lot of trouble here in I think it was a season 4 or a season 3 race here on this exact same track. Usually the driver with the inside does have it. I think Loco is actually, oh dear, oh my goodness. I think Loco actually hit the wall at the apex, and because that apex is raised, unsettled the car, spun around and got 1.5 seconds damage for his troubles. And mate, I tell you what, if you're the driver behind him of DJ2 Sus, you'd be coming up to Loco right now just thinking, well, isn't karma an interesting topic? So Loco may be able to get some just desserts here at Tokyo if he's able to catch up to Loco. But yeah, it seems that these wall penalties are really catching out a lot of the drivers, making for a very interesting race here. We'll see what DJ2 Sus does. I think he'll be able to get the
Loco
move here.
has served his penalty.
Yep, gets the job done. All this right in the world. I think I might jump to the front here because it looks like 1, 2, and 3 are very close together. Yeah, actually, Bob is right on the bumper here of Wilbur, which I think will work out well. Wilbur won't be too threatened by. And his Grumpy's got a penalty. Oh no, Grumpy's got a penalty, and look how close the drivers are behind him. Oof.
That's going to put him at the back of this battle, I'd say.
He is just going to be hoping that Bob maybe makes a move on Wilbur heading into the hairpin and slows himself down, because a half second's not too bad. You may be able to get away with it if the brake's big enough. So let's have a look right on board here with the mighty Bob. Looks like the AMG top speed in the slipstream is actually not too bad compared to the Porsche 911. Wilbur goes defensive here. As we go side by side, this is exactly what Grumpy wants to see. Wilbur brakes late. Bob is kind of on the racing line, but had to brake early to compensate. And looks like they've actually not done too bad of a job holding onto the back here. We'll stay with the mighty Bob. See what the impact of full Grumpy's penalty would have on his position. It would be a shame if he loses his grip on P1 at the moment, because he's driven a very, very strong, very consistent race here. Wilbur gets a bit squirrely through the second last corner. That's going to be great for Grumpy. Hopefully Grumpy doesn't hit the wall. Grumpy does hit the wall.
He does.
That's not what he wants. He's going to compromise himself even more with his half-second penalty. That's just really unfortunate. He may have gotten away with it here, but it looks like both Wilbur and the mighty Bob are going to take advantage of the situation there. So really unfortunate for Grumpy, but maybe the penalty hanging over his head maybe rattled him a bit.
I remember racing Mighty Bob back in the day when before I used to do league racing.
Yep, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
He was in one of my first
in the league,
sport races. I remember.
Yeah.
I recall him being quite respectful and fast and clean. So as soon as I saw him pop into the server, I was very, very welcome to see him here. But I'm sure that's just between you and me, Anthony, and all the other drivers in the AM division. It's like, why did you let this guy in? Look how fast he is. But after the end of this season, obviously the ELO data captured will set the scene for the next season ahead, and I know a couple of people have left some feedback in the end of season survey. Thank you for doing so. If you haven't done that already, check out the news channel in our Discord server. Fill in the end of season survey. We do look through all the comments, and one of them was about how drivers coming in, maybe slightly out of position or out of division in terms of their ranking, but we use the data that we have, which is the best, I would argue, picture of information that we have, especially for any new drivers as well. We vet them through a couple of different sessions, like time trials, as well as a preview race and things like that, to pull that information together. And the admin team spent about 4 hours, Anthony, I would say, going through every single driver. yeah, we try to do it in 2, but it always steps out to 4. And there are always going to be those crossover points where we need to draw the line in the sand of a division to make sure that there are 16 drivers here and there are 16 drivers there, and sometimes a driver on that cusp of that division line either moves up or falls into a lower division, but usually it makes out for pretty close racing across the board here. But we hear your feedback. If you haven't passed that on, feel free to drop it into the survey.
Have a look at this race as a pop example. We're at lap 20 and all the cars are on the lead lap. When we first started these things, it wouldn't be uncommon for cars to be getting lapped. So
exactly, yeah.
They're on the lead lap. They're not that far of a gap. There's been penalties, like we said at the start of this race, that was going to really, spread the field out, which has been the case.
And it's a good mix of legacy drivers as well as new drivers as well. So, especially considering the little data we had on the new drivers, to place them into these positions and still be in the mid pack amongst, still be in the middle of battles against legacy drivers, is a good sight to see. Morg still has his left indicator on, which could be implying to the drivers behind him that he's going to keep left unless overtaking.
I think he's just got it on the whole time.
I know, but it's like when you're on the Nürburgring, the tourist layout. Mech Payne in the back there got a 1.5 second penalty, unfortunately there. Loco might be thinking about a little bit of a move here on Morgs.
I think Samos is really having a hard time with this track, not finding the pace.
A good job for him sticking it out. Good effort. Yeah. Struggled with this one as well in the Pro Division race. It was a very similar situation to the AM division here, where the first couple of laps were nose to tail, very, very intense racing. Took a bit of a gamble by maybe going for a 2-stop and pitting early to find some clean air, and I did find some clean air and gained a bit of time, but just the 2-stop was not the strategy to be. It was the 1-stop, so the likes of all the drivers here who are on the 1-stop should be all on the lead lap, which Anthony said.
Loco's going to have to serve another 1.5 penalty for tagging the wall.
Oh, again?
Yeah, I think this is, this, like you said, the wide Mazda, it is a bit loose on acceleration, so...
Yep, and Mech Payne behind him's also got a 1.5 second penalty, so there should be, their gap should be exactly the same as they carry on, and Simo's being brought right back into the picture.
Yeah. That's it.
I was really setting towards the front end of the track here, the sunrise. Look how close Grumpy is to the Mighty Bob. Not a move to go for here. Just shove the nose up, rattle them a bit. Mighty Bob holds his line, gets a good exit. Oh, actually grazes the wall. So does Grumpy, but Grumpy grazes it a little bit less here. Now, how do you position your move here? Okay, goes on the inside. I think that's a smart move there. So, sorry, he goes on the outside for that turn, which makes the inside for this turn. Which means, Bob has to put in a lot more effort there to hold on to the grip. He actually does a great job of holding on. I think Grumpy thinks better of it and just lifts off the gas slightly to drop behind the slipstream of Bob. So live to fight another day. Bob goes deep here. Grumpy holds it to the apex quite nicely. Or Bob getting a bit swirly coming out of the end there, doing a bit of Tokyo drift as they come up to end lap 21.
These guys must be battling a bit because their lap times over the last couple of laps has dropped off, you'll note. However, Wilbur at the front there is just Mr. Consistent with the 157.5,
Yeah,
6.
7, 5, 6, 6, 2, 8, 9, yeah. Nice, within half a second of each other. Very, very well done there. So he comes over to start lap 22 as Grumpy actually comes across the line side by side with the mighty Bob here. Jaguar versus Aston Martin. Grumpy gets the move done.
Great work there. Pulling up to turn 1.
Oh, big hit from the wall.
Maximising it.
Oh, I could see that on the camera. Sorry, jumped to the wrong driver there. And that's going to be music to Grumpy's ear, just hearing the car scraping the wall behind him. 1.5 second penalty for Bob.
It was about this time when the Mercedes started to struggle in the first stint as well, so I think the advantage of the Mercedes on the fresh tyres is now gone, and Grumpy will be happy to see that penalty.
Yeah, and what makes it very interesting here is that Bob is a championship, sorry, not like a AM division title contender with a big haul of points at the top of the leaderboards there, but also not too far behind him or just ahead of him is actually Wilbur, who's in P1, and streaming away here. He'd love to have a fastest lap point to gain an extra point on Bob, but I think at this point with the tyres the way they are, you just need to focus on finishing the race. So seeing Grumpy in between him and Bob will be music to his ears. I don't think he's going to drop too far back Bob so that Bardo can catch him, but we'll see how they fare. Dave Walker kind of in no man's land there, but sometimes it's a bit easier on a track like this to just pump out clean laps when you're by yourself. Same with Tingy as well, but Grimm's not too far, letting him know that he's coming behind. And Asa has done a great job of catching up to P8 after that incident at turn 1 a couple of laps ago now, so lap 14. Seems like a lifetime ago. Marjon has done a great job pulling up to P9. Just shows to never give up, always keep pushing.
Loco's had a crash.
Oh no, I was just about to jump to him. 9 seconds.
9 seconds.
Oh my goodness. That is rough, and that RX-7 looks like it has seen better days. It is all scratched. It is in trouble. And there's another one. I think he's just
not happy.
Not happy there. 10.5 seconds of penalty coming his way. That's a really, really rough way to finish for him.
Especially so late in the race as well.
Yep. That's his race done and dusted. Wilbur still out the front. Grumpy in P2. Bob, actually, what I was saying about Bardo catching up, might not be able to catch up to Bob. Bardo is right on the back of Bob here. This could have huge ramifications for the AM division title, especially if Bardo's able to get ahead of mighty Bob. Now you saw what Grumpy did to Bob just by getting side by side him and getting an overtake done on him. It sort of rattled him a bit where he went wide and into the wall, Bob that is. I wonder if Bardo, who's catched up from a mile back, is going to get into his head a little bit and potentially cause him to gain another penalty.
So Loco just had another incident on the hairpin there. Same incident last time.
Oh dear.
Turning a bit early.
Oh, that's another
inside.
one. This is...
it's hard to say if he's not trying or it's...
There's a driver that's not happy with himself, Not happy with his efforts, there you go. Yep.
Enough of that.
And that does nothing to serve any benefit to anyone, so that's his race done and dusted. Wilbur coming through the final sector here, actually catching up to the lap car of Loco. Hopefully there is a bit of a gap in between them so that they don't interfere with the leading drivers. Grumpy, Jaguar looking really nice with those cool LED lights there. Bob is trying his hardest to salvage the, 31 points for third place, or 32 with the fastest lap he's got at the moment. Bardo's right on his bumper though.
tagged the wall. I was holding my breath for a penalty there for Mighty Bob, but seems to have gotten away with that as well.
You know, it's interesting, the
Good win
911
signs.
GT3R doesn't have much legs on the AMG either. Because the 911 GT3R is in the slipstream of the AMG, and the AMG is pulling away, so interesting factoid for your car choices next season. It doesn't have good straight line speed. Mighty Bob goes really defensive quite early there, making his intentions very clear. It's like showing your hand in poker a bit too early there. Bardo may...
Porsche is so good to look at though.
I know, it's a very good car. It gets a bit slippery there, Bardo. Well, I wonder if Bob's going to be able to hold on here. Check in with them a little bit later as they come down the main straight. Grumpy is slowly holding on to that position there. I think he may hold on to P2 as a result there. Catch up with Bardo and Bob shortly. Actually, we might hold on to Bardo here. He's got a very good run. I don't think he'll get the job done. Very right on board as they go into the tunnel. Well, the slipstream seems to be working a little bit here. The tyres are all screaming, slips out of the slipstream, back into the slipstream. Now, where do you go here, Bardo? Lifting off the throttle a little bit, probably a very wise move to get yourself a better run in this final corner. He's fashioning an attack move.
As well.
Oh, he goes deep, 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 deep. Bardo breaks.
Oh, contact.
Oh, that was a bit of a late move there.
Yeah.
From Bob, moving under braking, but also Bardo going for a very, very aggressive overtake that potentially he wasn't going to make. So I feel like the dust settled in the exactly right way it should have done, and they carry on. So keep an eye on that as we carry on through here. I just do a quick whip through the field. Daywalker still holding his own tingy, keeping himself ahead of Grim. Asi's dropped off the back of Grim a little bit. Sniper or Marjon still carrying on. DJ Tusas has done a good job building up some gap from Morgs. McPain in 12th, Simo 13th, and Loco at the back of the field here with Tank Near in the pits. So they are, well, Wilbur is coming into the first hairpin here. Looks like he's got this race bagged up. This makes a big mistake. Grumpy in P2. I can't look away from this battle, Anthony, between Bob and Bardo. I just need to know what happens here. Need to see what happens here. All right, Bob, Bardo, who will come out on top? Two new drivers to Apex Point Racing League. One a title contender for the AM division in the likes of Bob. Bardo, not a slouch by any means. Oh, he's got a great exit here. He's actually on the racing line heading into this turn, but Bob with the inside line. Oh, they go side by side. I didn't know that was possible here. Oh my goodness.
They keep it together though. This is really great racing.
Yep. All right, in the exact same situation we were last time. Bardo in the slipstream behind Mighty Bob, heading down this very long main straight, gaining. Rev banging, 5th gear, 6th gear. Might just ride on the back here of Bardo to see what he does. Is he going to make the same move again? Surely not. Surely he doesn't do it again. Bob goes defensive. Bardo takes the racing line this time. It's changed. Bob goes deep. He's gone deep. Oh my word. It's like the reverse happened this time around.
Yes.
Wow. Good job from Bardo for taking the learning from the previous lap and putting it to the sword against Bob. And you know who will be cheering about that? Our race winner, Wilbur W. Coleman, coming down the main straight there. Actually, the 911 looks stunning at night in these dark conditions. So, well done, Wilbur. P1 for you, mate. Well done, Grumpy. Exceptional race there, P2. Barring one penalty, a nice consistent one. Bardo, excellent work there, grabbing the last podium spot, followed by Bob in 4th. Daywalker 5th. Oh, Tiggy's just going to hold on to 6th from Grim there in 7th. Asa, what could have been if it wasn't for the accident. Marjon wasn't too far off in P9. And DJ2 Sus, who had that unfortunate incident with Loco RX2 early in the race, comes in to finish in the top 10. McPain, who also was facing sideways at the start of the race, on lap 3 or 4 finishes not at the back, so well done there. Morgs has got a 1.5 second penalty. He should come over in P12 here unless Simo's able to gap him. No, he does so there. Simo in P13 and Loco is way down the back there, so finished in P14. And Tank Neo in P15. He just parked it after an unfortunate start to the race. Wow. I know I said earlier, like we talked about the Pro-Am series and how the Pro-Ams always pop up every feature race because it's just like such a tightly contested field and the drivers are really
Yeah.
like tight. But that kind of like, you know, put a bit of effort to them to say, hey, us AM drivers, we're not slouches either. Different battle packs across the field, different drivers contending for different, points places, fastest laps. It was just, yeah, there was never a dull moment. I was yes, super stoked to be watching that race. Wow, what do you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. I just really wish ASOS was able to stay in there so we could
Mm,
see, you know, a battle for all the podium positions.
yeah.
But unfortunately, the mistake happened,
Hmm.
and it's just allowed Wilbur, Grumpy, and Barto to be up on the podium. So
That's right, yeah. And I mean, depending on how the season went earlier, these are the reasons why you have drop rounds. Sometimes things happen outside of your control or not,
exactly.
they don't go your way, and you just got to deal with the cards yourself, dealt, pick it up next week and carry on. And, as we all know, that was from round 8 last week. We just completed our season finale round this week. So the final standings are actually not too far away, Anthony. We're just waiting for a couple of incident tickets to be cleared so that we can apply the final
Yes.
penalties, adjust the leaderboards. But stay tuned, guys. That's not too far away. It could be within the next day or so. So that will be coming your way for the community. But thank you guys for tuning in as always. And just wanted to acknowledge everyone that not only joined here tonight for the live stream, thank you for all your kind words. Make sure you leave a like if you haven't done so already. But also special thanks to every supporter, whether you just race with us and show up every week and are an advocate for our community, or whether you're a donator that have joined our benefactors. We really do appreciate that. The benefactors that have, you know, chipped in a little bit of money to help organize things like our server slots for ACC, which are, unfortunately there's a cost associated with that, but also trophies and other things and boosts for the Discord community that wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you again. And also our volunteers as well. So our race hosts this season have done an exceptional job. Our stewards, thank you so much for the time you put into every ticket that you're assigned, and especially a very, very big shout out to our lead steward, Full Grumpy, who not only manages all the stewarding in his spare time, but finds what little time he does have to actually race and to put out a competitive effort like that. Props to him there. Shout out to Flux, our GT7 race strategist, who pulls all these races together for the Sprint Series and for the Group 3 Series. Anthony on an ACC side of things, our moderators for keeping the show rolling, keep the show rolling, and myself, I just click up a couple of buttons in Discord and show up to a race every now and then. But thank you guys. You guys make it really worthwhile and really enjoyable. And uh, your enthusiasm and interest really makes this community keep growing and makes us interested to keep going further. So thank you again for your time tonight. Anthony, always a pleasure in the comms box with you, mate.
You too. Great job as always. Natural.
Oh, stop it, you. Stop it. You're embarrassing me. Stop it, guys. Stop it. No, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing this and hope you guys enjoyed it as well. But for now, have a great evening. Take care of yourselves and we will see you next weekend for the season wrap-up premiere. Take care, guys.
See you.